Hey everybody, this is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures.
Hello everyone.
You know, AccuWeather said that the sun's shining.
Yeah, right.
But it's not.
No sunshine.
The sun is not shining. It looks like we have a lot of fog right now. So anyway.
So it's a good day to be inside.
Yeah, I'm still going to get out and do some stuff here in a little while though. Still got to go down and cruise the park here in a little while. And I got a package in from B&H, some more camera gear that I got to go pick up.
Camera gear.
Yeah, awesome. Anyway, so and then Deb, she's been working on a painting. Let's show them your painting. Let's see if they can see it there. Yeah, there you go. That's the painting she's been working on right there. And how many will that make now? I know you gave a couple away here.
When I get this one done, I'll have 5 completed.
5 completed.
Because I gave away 2.
Yeah, well, we're going to figure out a way to give away some more to folks that want them. So anyway, to the subject at hand. And we've had a lot of questions about this, not only here, but also on our Facebook family page, the Tiny House Adventures family page.
And what's the name of that family page?
Tiny House Adventures Family.
Facebook.
On Facebook. Yeah. Go into Facebook and type in Tiny House in the search window. Type in Tiny House Adventures Family, and you'll recognize our photo in the header. And ask to join, and we'll get you hooked up because we love to have folks join the page.
And in that same line of thinking, we're having, or hope to have, and we've had a lot of interest.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of people make
we've
reservations.
had some people already make reservations for our impromptu rendezvous, which will be at Lost Bridge North Campground on Beaver Lake,
outside of Garfield, Arkansas.
Yep, outside of Garfield, Arkansas. And that'll be May the 1st through May the 15th. And when we say May the 15th, we will be checking out on May the 15th, which means we'll be on the road by 3 o'clock.
Because that will be the end of our 14 days.
That'll be the end of our 14 days there. So, and this is a good way to segue in to what our subject is.
Yes.
Because we've had a lot of folks ask us, and this is a common question among the tiny house family. And a large portion of those are tiny houses or conversions, like van conversions, things like this that people have done themselves. Okay, and the question is, will you be turned away at a campground? Because the most part,
that's an issue sometimes.
Yeah, because it can be an issue sometimes, and for the most part, most of the folks that are interested in what we're doing are folks that are interested in building a cargo conversion or a van conversion or something like that. Here again, will you be turned away? The simple answer is, in some cases, yes.
Yeah. You can be.
Yeah, you can be turned away at some places. Here's what we do know. For the most part, 99.99% of the time, you'll have no issues at all at Corps of Engineer campgrounds, which is what we prefer to stay at. You'll have 99.99% of the time, you shouldn't have any issues at state parks, state park campgrounds, national forests, and things like that. So there shouldn't be any issues there at all. Now we'll talk about other campgrounds, and some campgrounds have different rules than others. In some campgrounds, privately owned, they will welcome you. In fact, I'm a member of a cargo conversion Facebook page, and this is something I do recommend that you all look into to getting set up with. There's lots of different Facebook groups out there that cater to folks with the interest in the cargo conversion movement. And there's one simply called Cargo Trailer Conversions, which is one of the biggest ones out there. And that question is posed on that page often. And some people will come in and say, well, I had no issues at this place, but other places I did have issues. So, yeah, you're going to have a problem sometimes at privately owned campgrounds. But also, you know, even folks that have nice RVs, if it's over 10 years old, some campgrounds won't allow them. There's one couple that we follow on YouTube, and I'm not going to mention the name of their channel, but they have an Airstream. And, you know, it's a nice looking Airstream.
And they keep it looking really nice.
And they keep it looking really nice. And the thing about Airstreams, it's kind of like Volkswagen Bugs of old, you know. You had a hard time, unless if you were really a Volkswagen expert, you know, and you knew the little things, like how the headlights were shaped or how the taillights were shaped or something like that, you'd be hard pressed for quite a period there to tell the difference between 1 year over another year, as long as they were well taken care of. But this couple got turned away because their Airstream was over 10 years old. You know, we had an issue one time when we had our motorhome. It was over 10 years old. And of course, the first thing the guy said, without even, I called him on the phone and asked him if he had monthly rates, because we were looking for a place to stay for a month. And the first thing he asked me was, are you living in it? And I said, well, quite honestly, we're experimenting with it, but as far as saying that we are setting up housekeeping, at that time, we didn't know for sure. I said, you know, as far as actually setting up housekeeping, we haven't made that decision yet. This is one reason why we want to look at staying. You know, we want to try to get a place where we can stay for at least a month and see how we like it. And he immediately got kind of rude.
Assumed the
he
worst.
started assuming the worst. And one of the comments that he made was, well, I'll go ahead and put you up in a place, but I'm going to park you back in another spot because we don't want your motorhome, because I have no idea what it's going to look like. He already assumed what it was going to look like based on the fact that we were considering full timing.
In an older
motorhome.
Right.
And so anyway, he said, but I'm going to tell you this right now. If you pull in and you got an air conditioner hanging out of the window, I'm going to tell you to turn right around and go back. You know.
So we didn't go.
we didn't
have an air conditioner hanging out the window.
No,
we don't need that attitude.
Our motorhome looked every bit as sharp as any late model motorhome out there. You know, because I'm picky about stuff like that. We did hop in the car and drive out to his campground. And after we drove through his campground, we decided we didn't want to be there anyway. You know, after we looked at the other RVs that were acceptable to him, we decided that we didn't want to stay there anyway, so it didn't matter. But here
you don't always have that option when you're on the road.
Now, I know of some folks that I talk to on our Facebook page and other Facebook pages. There's this one person that lives full-time in his cargo conversion. He's a contractor. And when he's going to be working in different parts of the country, he'll try to get set up at a KOA campground. And for the most part, he has been accepted at KOAs, except one time, and he went in there and posted. He said, don't go to this campground. He said, I made reservations ahead of time, set it up to be there a month. I was there 2 days. Someone came and knocked on my door and told me I'd have to leave. And they wouldn't explain why, but they just said that he would have to leave. So, you know, so what we suggest. Oh, and let me back up one more time, though. I also know that, what's the name of that fancy campground at Disney World in Florida? I don't know the name of it. You all know the name of it. But the campground there that is run by Disney World there in Florida, I happen to know of someone that did stay there in their cargo conversion at that. So from that, I'm assuming that they were accepted there, you know, with no issues. So you just never know. What I would probably suggest, you know, if you're concerned about a certain spot, call the campground, tell them what you got. It would help if you had some really good photos, probably photos of the thing actually set up in camp mode, so they can actually see what it looks like when it's set up. That would probably be a good suggestion right there. And, you know, you're probably going to find places that won't accept you, and that's okay. But we've never had an issue at a Corps of Engineer campground. In fact, we are camp hosts right now in our cargo conversion at a Corps of Engineer campground. So
yes.
What does that tell you? I have another friend that is a camp host right now. He just took the position as a camp host just a few months ago over in Missouri. And I asked him, I said, how do they feel about cargo conversions there? And this is after he'd just been there a few days. He said, well, I don't really know for sure, but I do know that we're okay with schoolies, school bus conversions. He did tell me that. So here again, it's hard to say. Now, I know we're going to get comments about that's why they like to go to BLM land. That's why you're set up with solar. So you can go out to BLM land because you don't have to worry about those kind of restrictions there and all that stuff. And that's fine. That's fine. But we are not set up that way. We're not set up where we can go out on BLM land. When we built our particular conversion, we built it with the thought in mind that we would be plugged in 99.99% of the time, right?
Yes.
So, but that's fine. You know, that's great. And yes, BLM land is a great option. From my research, it's told me that most BLM land is west of the Mississippi, you know. Most of the state parks, now there's a lot of state parks west of the Mississippi as well. You know, there's a couple in Mexico that I'd like to go visit that I've seen on YouTube, which look like they're pretty cool. But and I don't anticipate any issues there at those
New
state
Mexico?
parks. Huh?
New Mexico or Mexico?
In New Mexico.
Thank
What
you.
did I say?
Mexico, and I don't
Well,
think we're going there
I
yet.
don't think we're going to Mexico.
Not yet.
Not yet. Who knows? But anyway, those are things to consider. Strongly suggest that you have some good photos. Like I say, with it set up. If you're a little concerned about some, call ahead. But we really don't foresee any issues at Corps of Engineer campgrounds, state park campgrounds, national forests, and things like that. And those types of campgrounds are plentiful east of the Mississippi. In fact, we were just laying on the bed this morning as we were drinking coffee, and we were looking at a route that we might take where it'd take us basically due east of where we are right now, which is in northwest Arkansas. Take us due east and go through Tennessee, Kentucky, and then once we got on the far end of Tennessee, turning back down south, ending up in Georgia. And then there's a couple of state parks in the Florida Panhandle that is definitely on our list to visit. We'd like to do more. Go down and hit those, and then jog across back west again and end up at Davis Bayou Campground sometime in October, which is in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, which is right next door to Biloxi. And it's just a little ways off the ocean. It's in kind of a marshland area, but you can put your boat in there and get to the ocean right there. Ocean Springs, Mississippi is a beautiful little town. We just love that town. We've been there 2 or 3 times. We've never had the trailer there, but we are going to be there, and we'd like to be there in October for the Cruising the Coast car show that goes on during that time.
Can't make your reservation yet, though.
No, we can't make a reservation yet. And that's another thing about staying at Corps of Engineer campgrounds, state parks, and things like that, is map out your trip. It's real easy to go in and find these places on Google. They have books out there available too. We did a video a while back about one called Camping with the Corps. It's on Amazon. It's called Camping with the Corps. It's under $20, and it's been very, very helpful, and it shows we found a few campgrounds that are not listed in the book that we know are there, but very, very few. But it's very, very helpful, and you can lay out your trip and map it based on those, and then throwing in a few state parks here and there as well. And anyway, it was real easy for us to lay out a trip by using Google Maps, where we were not, the most time we'd be on the road between campgrounds was like 3.5 hours.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and go from one campground to the next, and go at places where we know will be accepted, with no problem. So that's the thing. If you want to travel in the eastern half of the country, your national forests and state parks and Corps of Engineer campgrounds are plentiful. Yeah, it's real easy to find a place to go, and you shouldn't have any trouble getting accepted at those. But the one thing we do caution that you do is you got to plan in advance, and you need to probably, especially on some and it'll say on the website, when their peak season is and everything. On some of those, you may want to make sure you make reservations well in advance, and that's the main thing, because sure would be a problem if you got there and they didn't have any space available for you since you didn't have a reservation.
We're chicken. We have to make reservations.
Yeah, we may get.
We haven't got that much courage.
You're right. We may get a little braver as time goes on, but right now we won't feel comfortable unless we know if we've got some reservations. At least a month or so out.
I don't want to drive for 3 hours and then get there and I'm sorry, we're full.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to spend the night on a Walmart parking lot myself personally. That's just me.
No.
So anyway, that's real quick. If anyone out there has some information about where if you have a conversion or a self-built RV, tiny home, cargo trailer conversion, van conversion, and
even schoolie.
Even school buses, even schoolies, even schoolies. And you have information out there about certain campgrounds that were not a problem, share it in the comment section. Now, we know that the BLM thing is a whole nother thing, and the restrictions are very low there. We're not talking about that. We're talking about regular campgrounds where, in our case, where we can go plug in. So we can have our air conditioner and So we can either have a dump station or be able to hook up our sewer to a sewer spot on the pad. And the thing about it is, here again, the reason why it's better for us to do things like that is because even though we don't look at it, especially Deb.
You're not going to say the A word.
No, I'm not going to say that. What's the A word?
Age.
Age?
The H word.
The H word?
What'd you think it was?
Okay, let me put it this way. Even though we qualify for the senior citizens discount, let me say it like that, for the senior citizens discount, is that the way I say that? No. I'm sorry. Even though we qualify for that and Deb doesn't look it, we do take advantage of that, of course. So, we get a 50% discount at Corps of Engineer campgrounds. We don't at state parks.
Not unless you're, most states, even Arkansas, which we are a member, we live in Arkansas.
Yeah.
We don't get a discount.
No.
Well, $2, I think.
Yeah, $2 at state parks.
Yeah.
It's not like a 50% discount at government
at
run
the core parks.
campgrounds like core parks and national forests and things like that.
That's a huge difference.
But it's still, when you look at the state parks in Florida, on the average, they're usually around $24 a night.
From our research.
From our research so far, most of them we've seen are around $24 a night. And man, the ones that we've seen on YouTube look absolutely gorgeous and absolutely picturesque, beautiful settings, And here again, you're not jammed up one after the other, And that's the thing that appeals to us. So $24 a night for a place like that compared to a privately owned campground where they might snub your nose at you and you're going to pay at least 40 or 50 or 60. I've even seen some 70 and 80, depending on the season and everything and where it's at. There's the price can't be beat. That's just all there is to it.
In our opinion.
In our opinion. Yeah, we need to make sure that that's in our opinion. And at Corps of Engineer campgrounds, we've got our conversion parked at a spot, and man, we had this guy, and this is one thing that we found at Corps campgrounds. We had this gentleman pulled up next to us in a huge, I would say at least a 40-foot or bigger motor coach. And man, I would off the top of my head, I'd say at least this thing was probably at least $300,000, But the nicest guy you ever met. Come out and visited with us. He asked us all kinds of questions about our conversion. We had a wonderful visit. But man, that thing was just so cool. So what I'm talking about is the difference between where we were sitting and the guy that pulled in next to us. Yet when we got there at this Corps campground, which we consider one of the prettiest campgrounds around, everybody was on the same playing field. That's the way it was. This guy didn't even have to roll up his power cord. He just pushed a button and the thing rolled it up for him. I got to figure out how to do that.
We had a little bit of house envy, did we?
Oh, yeah, just a little bit. Anyway, but I guess the answer to the question is, will we be turned away? Well, we don't think we will because of the places we're planning on visiting. Okay, but there could be an issue at privately owned campgrounds. I will throw one more thing in here right quick before we go. I did check with Thousand Trails, and here's what what they told us. They said, well, we can't guarantee that you won't be turned away at the different campgrounds. Some campgrounds will accept you and some won't.
Because
and you may
they're
get turned
all
away.
privately owned.
Right, because they're all, they're part of that, but they're still, they have their own management and everything like that. So we did not, because of that, we did not go ahead and get the Thousand Trails membership because of that. Now, there might be some folks out there with a cargo conversion or a van conversion or something like that, a do-it-yourself cargo conversion, do-it-yourself van conversion, that do have a Thousand Trails membership and haven't had any issues at all. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
But in our case, we decided not to go that route because, here again, we don't want to have our trip all planned out and then we get up to the van and we tow it to the next spot, all ready to start setting up, and they say, sorry, you can't be there.
Yeah, that would be pretty upsetting.
That would be upsetting. Anyway, we're going to say goodbye, and I'm going to figure out something else to do the rest of the day. But this is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures, and here again,
we're not camping.
No.
We're living.
Absolutely. Y'all take care. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now.